Hi Collective, welcome to my channel, Mystical Crystal Shadow Work. Hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear my voice okay in this reading. My last one I think turned out okay. My voice has been coming back a little bit today. But this is the energy reading that I wanted to do, okay? I was feeling called to do an energy reading. This is intended for my star seeds, light workers, earth angels, of course the chosen, the 144. Okay, anybody can be guided to this reading, but that's the energy that I'm on. So you're going to be connected with this reading for that. All right, so Angel of Balance is coming out very strongly. Second chakra, Archangel Ariel is here helping balance this out. I feel there's been a lot of inconsistencies surrounding money, and a lot of this balancing that needed to happen was within you. By you balancing out this sacral chakra and letting go of your worry of money, insecurities, whatever they were, that's what's increasing this. It's like we've got the woman holding a coin here, right? Which this represents the Queen of Pentacles in the tarot, right? And that is somebody that is very resourceful. Now, when you see the Queen of Pentacles, she's holding a coin, but it's not always about that. It's about knowing that she's very resourceful. To me, she's like an alchemist. She's able to create something rather extraordinary out of something rather ordinary. This is somebody that has like hidden talents, skills, abilities. This is somebody that is very unique and very skillful, I'm hearing. She can monetize off of stuff that maybe ordinary people could not. Or maybe she's got like, I'm hearing a niche, what is that? They were trying to say something. Somebody's got like a very, I'm hearing thrifty, nifty. I'm hearing so many different energies. Okay. Okay. All right. Anyway, I think you know what I'm saying. Is that the somebody here has got like a skill, ability that they're going to be able to use, and it's going to be able to support them. It's going to be fun. It's the passion that they put into it. It's the love that they do. I'm hearing that it's like, isn't it like the best food that you often eat or enjoy is something when it's prepared for you, when it's made for you, right? And even though it may be the same recipe and you make it yourself, it's not nearly as good as if somebody makes it for you, because everybody puts their unique love and their energy into it, right? It's just like with perfume or cologne, you can spray it on as many different people, it's never going to smell the same, right? Because everybody has their own makeup, their own scents, their own everything. So it makes it very unique, right? So you got to think about that as this, like there's not one way to do something. It's the energy, it's the skill, it's the whatever is put into this. But see, this Queen of Pentacles, it's like they forgot that, right? It's like somebody was making, I'm getting this strong feminine energy here. Somebody like made them feel rather ordinary, plain Jane. It was because they had a lot of, I'm getting like childhood woundings here, because this looks like a child to me here, right? It's like a child angel, right? So I'm getting, it's like somebody needed a lot of like inner child woundings here that needed to be healed. So like something that happened as a childhood made you feel as though you were very ordinary, very plain, you're not very creative. Maybe your ideas when you were little constantly got shut down by people, so you didn't go and pursue your passions and the things that you desire, right? So you felt as though you weren't good enough, right? And see, that sacral chakra is what's being healed at this time, right? And that is what healing that is going to open up your creativity, your passion, your joy, your thrive for life. And just having that chakra blocked can alone mess up all your others, right? So this is a huge healing that is taking place, and it's balancing you out. It's balancing out your chakras, right? So by healing this wounding, right, it's really going to open up your flow of abundance. And look what's on the bottom. I've been holding in my hand the whole time I've been talking. I'm getting this. It's like somebody didn't even realize this. Door to value. Look at all that money flowing in, right? So somebody's been holding on to this gift, this passion, this talent, this skill, whatever this is, for quite some time. Is this something that could definitely be dabbling in that magic, esoteric, things like that with the black cat, very witchy energy, right? And witchy energy, you could be an herbalist, because I was talking about food and things like that. When you hear witches, and I heard this in another reading today too, which is very beautiful because I was feeling this too. And I was thinking the whole time like white magic, white witch, things like that. And then she had called out reading herbalist, things like that. You're somebody that does a lot of healing through foods and things like that, right? It's like, the right thing to do, right? And it was just, I was thinking about that today as I was unpacking all the fruits that I just got yesterday, and I was putting them in bowls, things like that. And I was thinking about like that, how, yeah, when you've got a bowl of oranges out in your house, it brings luck and abundance, things like that. So I'm calling this out for you. So I'm telling you right now, if you don't have a bowl of oranges in your kitchen, on your table, in your dining room, you should get a bowl of oranges, right? Because that brings in luck and abundance and that creativity. And you are supposed to have, I think in Feng Shui, the orange is supposed to be in your kitchen, right? For like an abundance, because it's a position of colors, but it's very power color too. And when you're eating it, you're working with it, make sure you're off your phone, things like that. Be looking at the foods that you're eating. That is really going to open up and pop your chakras open, because they're telling me to tell you to work with the color orange. What's unique is what's so vibrant to me right now is just the timer on my phone is lit up in orange, right? And I'm just staring at it. So yeah, there's definitely, you're needing to work with the color orange, and alone, that is what's going to fly this door open for you guys, because that creative energy you're going to get flowing, right? You already have the angels here, Archangel Ariel, that's helping you with that. For some of you too, if you were shut off to connections too in your sacral chakra, that could be affecting how you're receiving and showing love too. So you could be actually trauma bonding in relationships and not feeling love or seeing love because of trauma bonds. And that's what's so sad, is sometimes you can have a trauma bond, right? And all you're doing on your relationships is projecting. You're only able to see what you feel inside. So people could be literally showing you all of this love, but you feel they're not, because all you're seeing is your insecurities and your worries and your things like that. And I've been thinking a lot about this Married at First Sight, this episode. I forget what season it was in. I think it was last season. I was watching it, and this girl is so beautiful, and she's definitely an angel. I could tell she's an earth angel. She's got so much love, and the whole show, she's sabotaging her connection, and I can see the love in her partner, but I'm like, she's projecting on him. I'm literally watching it right in front of me, and I'm like, God, I wish I could just like help her and tell her, like, we need to heal this insecurity that you have. You're not seeing what's right in front of you, right? And I see that a lot, and I don't like it when I can't reach out and help people, so I just done the healing from afar. But those insecurities get stuck there of those abandonment issues, or not feeling enough love. And what's so sad is a lot of it's like our 3D matrix does that, because it's part of the control. They didn't want us to be optimized, like running at the best, right? They had to control us, they had to separate us from our children and put our children in schools and put us in the workforce, and right? So that, a lot of time, what I'm getting is there's a lot of people that could have, inner child woundings, is feeling though that they're wasn't loved enough as a kid, because maybe your parents weren't there enough because they were having to work so much. What people don't understand, and what children don't too, is a lot of times, like, you go work all day and then you're tired, when you get home you just want to relax. And when the kids are like, what, you don't want to go play baseball with me, you don't want to go jump on the trampoline, you don't want to do all of this, because you're like, I'm tired. And sometimes it's mental, right? Especially if you've got to worry about stress about bills and things like that. A lot of times parents were thinking up here like, oh my gosh, I got to do this bill, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then the children come at you and you're just like, gosh, I need a break, I got to figure all this stuff out. And they're getting sent away, and they're not realizing it's not them, it's all the stress and the worry and the bills and all that stuff. And so it's very easy, because of 3D matrix, for children to feel as though they're not loved enough. Often when you think that, you're thinking, oh, well, my parents loved me. A lot of times parents too will try to make up for it by, right? That was my problem, is that I was trauma bonded to like money and material things because like my dad was never there. He was always working, and he would show me love by buying me things. My mother was very severely broken. She didn't know how to show love, receive love at all. So I had two parents. I was not shown love at all. So I've had to work a lot on healing my inner child, and I've had to learn how to show love because I didn't know how to show love. I didn't know how to just go up and hug, or I wasn't hugged. I wasn't told I love you or any of that growing up. I didn't have family. I was very isolated. I was left alone. I had to raise myself because they were always gone. And, you know, so that really sent me down a very challenging path, cycle, right? And so what I'm getting at is it was like for the longest time, like I didn't even realize that I was doing that. So I was getting into these relationships, right? And I was like, well, if they're buying things or paying bills, things like that, they're showing me love. They must love me, things like that. So I was trauma bonded, right, to the wrong type of situations and stuff. And I've been struggling a lot with it. And not to mention the projecting and all of that stuff. That's something in its own, is that projection, right? Sometimes these woundings can be so deep, it's like you can't see otherwise, right? So if people aren't, you know, if they don't heal these things, you cannot see love. And for some of you, you have all this love in, but if you have this trauma, maybe you're afraid, right, to commit, you're afraid to show it, or maybe you don't know how. Like me, because I didn't have somebody come hug me, kiss me, say I love you, like I didn't even know how to come out and say that. I'm like, when like I love them, but when do you tell somebody you love them? Like I could write it in cards, I could do all of this, you know, but I didn't know how to approach people, you know. Like it literally took, you know, finally me getting into a relationship with my twin where we ran into that barrier too, but he was the one where he was more into masculine energy. So he's like, I can just grab her and, you know, it would force me. And then it got easier, you know. So I finally had, you know, that's why it takes a lot of times getting together with your twin to get you to see your problems. And that's what I mean. Until I got into that connection, I didn't even realize that the whole time I was projecting and I was reflecting and I was isolating and I was doing all of these things, right? And he didn't realize that he was being non-committal and all of this stuff and afraid to show his emotions. Because a lot of times with your twins, 1222, as I say that, you mirror each other. You very much do. So a lot of you have the same type of childhood wounding. So you have like the same type of upbringings, right? It's just for some of you, like maybe one of you have an absent mother, the other of you have an absent father, right? And but it was like with us, like we both had daddy issues and things like that. And like my twin was adopted and things like that. So I know that he's been dealing with the abandonment issues, you know, or deep rooted, because, you know, knowing that even though he's had a loving mother there, the father, I just know that the triggers are there, right? So but it's like I had both of mine, but they were, you know, just not in my life. So you see, we mirrored the same type of woundings, right? So yeah, it really takes, you know, your twins to trigger each other. And look what I'm holding in my hand again, cornucopia. There's so much abundance that that is here. It's right here for you. It's just like you've had all of this has been meant to come to you, is the strongest thing that I'm getting. But somebody had to heal to be able to get this. It's kind of like you get the reward, you get the prize, you get the gift for doing the work. The shadow work is doing the work. Doing the work is letting go of those blockages, letting go, you know, of the pain, right? A lot of these people that do this, like, they don't realize they are, you know. Like I said, so many things, like a lot of us here today are generational curse breakers. A lot of us are here breaking just trauma bonds that have been going on, you know, down our generations, right? So a lot of us, it's like we're almost cursed. It's like, so my mother was like severely abused when she was, you know, younger, and she went through a lot of, you know, sexual abuse and trauma. And when she was pregnant with me, she was like on the run, and same thing, she was under so much fear and everything. So, you know, that affects the condition and the state that you are in when you're conceiving, or when you conceive a child, when you growing a child, that affects them, right? So it's like I inherited all of that. And on top of it, she was so broken. She didn't know how to show love. She didn't feel she was loved. So she didn't know the same thing. She didn't know how to show love. So she didn't show love to me. Me as a kid, I was just like, well, why does my mom not love me? Like, what is this? You know, it took me a long time to realize that it was just, she was so broken. She didn't know how to show love, right? That it really wasn't her. So that's what I mean. Like, if she was properly loved, then she would have been able to show love to me and things like that. You see how it gets carried down? It was just woundings, right? So, and some of those people will just, I'm not going to get into turning this too much into trauma, but you see what I mean? So it's easy to forgive people when you understand that sometimes it's simply, it's just, it was in their DNA that this trauma, and some people can't overcome it. I'm lucky enough that I found, when I had nobody and felt all alone and I hit rock bottom, I went to my angels. I found my angels, and they led me to my spiritual awakening. They led me down the path of enlightenment and healing, and that I was lucky enough, like, to get caught by my angels and ascend up and heal myself and do all of this work, right? So yeah, and I'm hoping, you know, that this reading is going to reach the right people. And I feel in this big energy, like, that the people that are going to find this, you're the ones that you're finding it very, very hard to forgive people for certain things that they did. And you need to accept the fact that they were in fact broken themselves. And then not to mention these entities, these demons. A lot of these demons are running through the generations too. It's not even the person. It's like these demons take over. All it takes is somebody being in a low vibrational energy, right? And these demons can take over, especially if drugs and alcohol is involved, because that's demonic possession right there. They can easily take you over because you shut down your chakras to the divine when you ingest those chemicals, not to mention our foods. Because the devil runs the world here. The devil runs the earthly realm. God runs heavenly realm, right? It was supposed to, because you wouldn't have light without darkness, and you have to embrace those things, and you have to show that you're going to heal, that you're going to forgive, that you have compassion, that you have love, that you have forgiveness, that you're really going to follow all of those things if you want to ascend, right? So you see why you have to forgive, and you have to open up your chakras, and you have to heal, and you have to let go of this hate that you have, right? All right, I was told that's it. All right, guys, love and light to all of you. Bye.